Hello friends, in today's lecture we'll talk about Hindi films and Gulzar. In the earlier lecture we also talked about some of the films of Gulzar, and we'll continue from the times when we left in the last lecture, where we talked about the kind of cinema which was made by him as a director, and how in the initial part he was also connected as a lyricist and the script writer, and the kind of sensitivity which has been reflected in the films of Gulzar, how they are contemporary in nature, they are trying to in a way communicate the times in which they have been made. And we also have seen that the lyrics which were written by him, they are also very meaningful in that sense. They are trying to carry the film forward. And one of the important aspects which has been associated with Gulzar, that he is multifaceted in nature, and he not only remained as a lyricist or as a script writer but also later directed films as well. Thereafter he was also associated with television as well, where he directed serial like Mirza Ghalib, and we also see that he was also connected with a serial on Munshi Premchand as well, so which reflects his literary kind of a side, and the kind of books which he has written over the years, whether in Punjabi or Urdu or Hindi and English, all of them are also a testimony of his literary style, the kind of panache he had in terms of communicating what he has in his mind. Some of the readings which one can refer is Nasreen Munni Kabir, Jia Jale, the stories of songs, Nasreen Munni Kabir in the company of a poet, Sebal Chatterjee, A Cause and Eloquences, Meghna Gulzar, Because He Is, Gulzar et al., Encyclopedia of Hindi Cinema. So these are some of the readings which one can refer when one is talking about Gulzar. And I remember that in the last lecture when we were talking about how Andhi is a political film in that sense, because it was reflecting the kind of incidents which were quite familiar in the lives of politicians like Tarkeshwari Sinha and Indira Gandhi, and how this particular film was banned during the times of emergency. And when again it was in a way cleared in 1977, and when it was being shown, so it was trying to convey the conflict between the role of a wife as a dutiful wife, and how when she is going to the public sphere as a political leader. So this kind of a dichotomy is clearly visible, that whether women, they should remain at home or they should go to the public sphere as well. And this kind of conflict between her family life and her professional life, both of them, this could also be seen. We also find that in this particular film how some kind of political opportunism, it is being satirized in democracy, and how the politicians, they visit commoners only during the 5 years when they have to go and seek votes, and dialogues which are seen in the film like Salam Kijiye, Ali Janab aaye hain, ye 5 saalon ka dene hisab aaye hain. Both to the masters, they have come after 5 years. So this kind of a situation was talked about even after a number of years as well, in 1980s, 90s and thereafter. Politicians time and again, they have been criticized for this kind of a conduct, where they are going to the voters only to seek votes. And we also see, when this film was particularly released, there are a number of rumors. They were based that it was based on the life of Prime Minister Indira Gandhi. And Aruna Vasudev, one of the film scholars who has worked on the censorship of cinema, she has communicated that how it was banned after 26 weeks after its release. So we find that how this kind of a censoring of films, it was also there, and it was there from the times when colonial censorship existed. And how one of the film historians or film scholars like Subhash K. Jha, He says that Andhi drew thematic parallels between Indira Gandhi and Nehru as they are depicted in the film, and it is trying to give some kind of references to their personal lives, and the role of Sanjeev Kumar having shades of Mrs. Gandhi's husband. So such kind of picturization was trying to draw some kind of a parallel in those times, and these parallels, they were not being accepted by the political class, who did not take it in a rightful manner or in a right spirit, and that is how we see that the film was banned as well. Then apart from that, we also find that Gulzar made a film called Mausam in 1975, in which the love story of Sanjeev Kumar and Sharmila Tagore was shown, and the kind of promise which was made by Sanjeev Kumar to return, but he does not come back because of certain circumstances, and how Sharmila Tagore marries an old man and dies, and thereafter her daughter is being forced into prostitution. So this kind of a situation, when the older Sanjeev Kumar, after years, when he visits that place, he is able to meet this daughter of Sharmila Tagore, who is now playing the double role in the film, and now he is amazed and he blames himself for that kind of a situation, because he was the one who did not come back to take care of her, and he buys her from the brothel in that sense and takes her home and tries to change her into a well refined woman. He was unaware that he is indirectly in a way responsible for her mother's death, and she begins to fall in love with him. So this kind of a situation where human relationships, they are unfolding in totally unexpected ways, was one of the concerns of Gulzar, and these kinds of human relationships, they have been exhibited in a number of films which have been made by him. For example, Khushbu, which was made in 1975, which was based on Bengali novel Pandit Mashai by Sharat Chandra Chattopadhyay, and how Hema Malini's child marriage with Jitendra, and some kind of a misunderstanding between the families, and Jitendra marries Sharmila Tagore, a child widow, and when she finally dies, leaving a young son, and how Jitendra and Hema Malini, they come closer, but ego issues, they exist. So this film again is based on the kind of human relationships and the complexities which are involved in the human relationships. So it was some kind of a simple take in that sense, not only on the relationships, but at the same time the situation of the women in those times, where the marriage which had been solemnized at a young age was not even respected because of some kind of a misunderstanding, and how women, especially in this case Hema Malini, had to suffer a lot. And we find that apart from this, we also find that there was a film called Kinara, which was made in 1977 with Jitendra, Hema Malini and Dharmendra, and this film narrates the story in which how Dharmendra, who was to get married to Hema Malini, dies in an accident, and the person who was responsible for the accident was Jitendra, and when she loses her eyesight, she is being supported by Jitendra, and in a way we find that she is not able to in a way forgive Jitendra, but at the same time when she realizes that he was the one who was helping her, she seeks forgiveness from him and tells that she was living in the past. So the film basically is not only some kind of a it is also trying to convey some kind of a message to move forward in life, because life is always unexpected, and it is to be seen that any accident can happen to anybody in the life, but the person has to move in some sense. So these kinds of picturizations by Gulzar, they were trying to communicate the power of the human relationships. Apart from that, because many of the filmmakers, they were not ready to in a way present films with the perspective of a child, and there was a film called Kitab in which Master Raju played in a way the central role, and how he is being sent from a village to a city to study, and how he is staying at sister's place played by Vidya Sinha, and he is being shown as mischievous at school, and there are a number of complaints against him. So his experiences of life and reality when he runs away from the house of his sister, and then through his train journey, while going back to his village, he realizes that life is not all that simple, and it is too difficult for the people, those who are poor. And then he in a way resolves to study and be sincere. So this film basically was trying to communicate from the perspective of a child, and I don't think that many films they were being made in those times which were in a way being called as the children's film. And so Gulzar had that kind of a perspective, that kind of a sensibility, that he was trying to give some kind of a message to the society by bringing about such kind of stories. Another film which he made was Meera, which was based on the life of Meera, Hindu saint poet who renounces princely luxuries in pursuit of her love for Lord Krishna, and how Meera's life, her struggle to find the independence and some kind of a dignity and spiritual satisfaction that is being shown. And because in a society, women, they are being supposed to be worthy of only taking care of the household works. And this film had music by Pandit Ravi Shankar, and so some kind of a story from the past has been taken and it is being shown in the contemporary times, but at the same time the kind of tilt which is being given, that how a woman she has to conform to the kind of rules which have been created by the society, the kind of ideals which are there in the society, she has to follow all of them. And when she does not do it, she is being considered as a traitor or an outcast. So she has all sorts of duties as a wife or as a bride or as a woman, and all these duties are to be fulfilled by her towards all the sections of the society as well as the family. And when in a way she is being jailed and some sort of a public trial is ordered to decide about her faith, and as she is committed to Lord Krishna, so she is not even afraid of death. And we finally see that how she is being given some sort of a death sentence and is ordered to drink a cup of poison in front of the public. So these kinds of picturizations, they could be seen as contemporary, in that sense that how women in the contemporary times as well, they were being tried and tested, and they had to in a way give all sorts of tests to prove their veracity. And another important film which was made by him, which was based on Shakespearean play The Comedy of Errors, was Angur, and it was about the two pairs of identical twins who were separated at birth, as you can see on the screen, and how their lives, they go haywire when they meet in adulthood. The film shows that how Utpal Dutt and his wife are on a trip with their twin sons, both of them they call Ashok, and how they had adopted another set of twins, both of them they call Bahadur, who was Devan Verma. So how Sanjeev Kumar and Devan Verma, both of them as sets, in that sense that when they come, when one set comes to a particular city and another set is already living in that city, so some kind of a comedy which takes place when they are being seen to be different persons. And the story in a way talks about that how people, they got separated, and we find that how Sanjeev Kumar was married to Maushami Chatterjee and Deven Verma is married to Aruna Irani, and how they were also living with their younger sister Deepti Naval, who was the younger sister of Maushami Chatterjee in the film. And when the other set of people like Sanjeev Kumar and Deven Verma, they enter their lives, and this kind of a some kind of a complexity enters in their lives, and all of this creates some kind of a comical situation, and how they come out of this comical situation and finally realize in the end that they are two different characters. Another film I would like to talk about, which was based in a way on again the issue of women, where we find in 1982 Namkeen, which was the story on the Wahida Rahman, who was a former Nautanki or folk theatre dancer, and her three daughters. Shamla Tagore is an aloof, unmarried girl keeping household together. Shabana Azmi, one who can't speak but is an intelligent and romantic girl. Then Kiran Verale, a bold and vibrant teenager. So how this film was trying to communicate the position of women in the society and how they have to struggle and fight when they do not have any kind of a male support in the family, because the father of the girls, he had run away, he had refused to take up the kind of responsibility of the girls, and how all these three sisters, they had to fight not only the people, those who are around her, but the society as well. And she, in a way, we find that how Wahida Rahman, who was Nautanki dancer in the earlier times, and she does not want that her daughters, they follow the same profession, and the father, who had run away, always comes back so that she can take one of the daughters for the Nautanki work. So these kinds of problems which were evident in the society and the family, where she is afraid of her daughters. And on the other hand, you have outsiders like Sanjeev Kumar, who is a truck driver and a tenant, and he always is protective of these women, and he proposes to Sharmila Tagore, and for which she is not ready, and she suggests that rather he should marry Shabana Azmi. So she is in a way trying to sacrifice her life for her younger sister. And when Sanjeev Kumar leaves the house, the entire house is being destroyed. So this kind of a patriarchal system, where we find that women, they are not being respected in some way, and how the women, they have to adjust in the society so that they are able to sustain themselves. Another film called Ijazat, in which Rekha Nasiruddin Shah and Anuradha Patel acted, which was made in 1987, again deals with the issues of feminism and patriarchy in the middle class, and how Nasir's marriage with Rekha and his relationship with Anuradha Patel, who is aptly named Maya, and how finally Rekha leaves out of his life, and the accidental death of Maya, again when Nasir left alone. So this kind of a situation, that he is now without both Rekha as well as Maya, being played by Anuradha Patel, and how they met after a long time in a waiting room of a railway station, and they in a way try to see the kind of a situation, and when Nasiruddin seeks for forgiveness from her, and finally when she leaves, she touches Nasiruddin's feet as a plea for his forgiveness and for his permission, ijazat, for her to leave him. And Nasiruddin grants her wishes, speaks well of her husband, and gives her his blessings for a happy life. So we see that film scholars like Lalit Mohan Joshi, they recreate. He talks about this film called Ijazat and says that it recreates the tingling sensation of a mature romance. It looks at an unusual male-female relationship, a subject less often broached in Hindi cinema. So he is trying to convey that largely such kind of themes, they have not been tackled by the Hindi cinema, and Gulzar is trying to go into this kind of a territory, unexplored theme in this particular kind of a film. We also find he also made a film called Libas in 1988 about the married couples of urban India having extramarital relations and adultery, and this film was never got released in India, and it was screened at International Film Festival at Bangalore in January 1992, and in 2004 film was shown at International Film Festival of India in Goa after a gap of 22 years. So we find that many times films, they get into such kind of a territory where the questions of censorship become more important, and how things they have changed over a period of time with the coming of the OTT platform, over the top platform. where you find that the issues of censorship are not all that rigid, in that sense that not many laws dealing with the OTT kind of an exhibition are there. Then there was another film called Lekin, which was made in 1991, produced by Lata Mangeshkar, and the rendition of the song Yara Sili Sili, which won the National Film Award for the Best Female Playback Singer in 1991. And the story of the film is trying to convey the soul of a woman played by Dimple Kapadia, who is caught in a time warp somewhere between the realm of living and the dead, and she dies while trying to escape her long captivity. So we find basically that his cinema was reflective of the times. The film called Marches, which was made in 1996, which was used as a metaphor that articulates the youth of any country are mastics that could be ignited because of deficiencies in political and regulating systems. So this was in a way portraying the surrounding rise of the Sikh insurgency in Punjab in the 1980s, and how it depicts the change of a youth from an ordinary to a feared terrorist who is determined to seek some kind of a revenge. So it is again talking about the contemporary theme and the kind of things which were happening in Punjab of those times. Then in 1999 he makes a film called Hututu, which was dealing with the corruption in politics, and how Suhasini Mule is being shown as a corrupt politician and Nana Patekar as a revolutionary thinker. And finally the film ends with Tabu's father working as a headmaster in a school. And the message of the film, when one sees, is focus on the efforts for the protection and education of the school children. So he's trying to convey the kind of changes which have come in the political sphere, where corruption is being accepted, and there is some kind of a need to bring that kind of a change where all these kinds of aspects which are in a way derogatory to the society, corruption in public life, is to be in a way discarded. So we see that how Gulzar made some kind of a contribution to the cinema in India, in the context where he tried to blend the Hindi as well as Urdu, and the kind of sensitivity in the treatment of the lyrics and the direction could be seen, and his concern with the reality as well as with the ordinary could also be seen. And in this way, I'd like to end the discussion that he has definitely made a great contribution to the Indian and the Hindi cinema. Thank you very much.